Welcome back to Easily Explained, where today we will be talking more about irregular preterite tense verbs. So let's get started. In the past couple of videos, we've mainly focused on some of the most common ones, the ones that follow a specific pattern that we used from the combined preterite AR and preterite ER-IR charts. We focused on their stems and then we put them together so that we can find all the conjugation charts of many verbs like saber, querer, tener, poder, hacer, estar, poner. Today we're going to be talking about two more verbs. These ones are also on the easier side because they are not as irregular, and in a minute you'll see why when we have two more sets of verbs that we are going to go over with the irregular preterite tense verbs. So we have this one, which are two verbs that we're going to be talking about today. Only two, since these are the most common ones that follow this pattern. Today we are talking about the verb ver and the verb dar. So as you can see, these ones are your three-letter verbs, and that's why it is necessary for them to have some sort of different conjugation for the preterite tense. So for the verbs ver and dar, first let's just write out the meanings. Ver means to see, and dar means to give. Alright, so now that we have this, we can talk about their endings, and I guess you could consider it the stem. So when we talk about endings for ver and dar, it might be a little confusing, but basically we just take all of the ER, IR endings. Now, if we think of ver, since it is an ER verb, you might not consider it as irregular because you're still using the same endings, right? But the only difference is you still don't have the accent, so that's why we consider it still irregular preterite. Also, dar is an AR verb, so then that is obviously irregular, and it also doesn't have any accents. So let's rewrite the ER-IR conjugation chart just so that we can refresh our memory on that. So the things that changed in the formulated irregular preterite tense verbs, the ones that we talked about a couple of videos ago, it was just iste, o, imos, isteis, and ieron. So from this, the yo form and the el, ella, usted form was from the AR preterite chart. Now we are just going to take those two out, and it's just going to be the entire IR, ER chart. So it's just going to be iste, yo, imos, isteis, ieron. So the right side of the chart doesn't change, and the do form doesn't change either. It's just you have to remember that they all are going to be the ER-IR chart. So then those two conjugations will change. All right, so we have the stem, or we have the endings. So what's the stem? Well, in these two verbs, since they're three-letter verbs, you wouldn't really consider them to have a stem. Basically, all you do, just like in whenever you're conjugating for present or for preterite tense, not irregular preterite tense, because those have your separate stems, but For example, I gave the instance of hablar in present. If we want to conjugate it, the first step is to remove the AR. And then you just add your correct ending. So for example, if it's the yo form, it'll just be hablo. So in the same way, these two verbs are pretty easy because let's say we have ver, get rid of the ER, and you just have V, and now you just add in your correct ending. So it's vi, viste, vio, vimos, visteis, vieron. But remember, they are irregular, so no accents. That is the one thing that stays the same for all irregular preterite tense verbs, is that there's no accents. All right, and then let's do dar in the same way. Get rid of the AR. We just have D, or the D, and then D, diste, dio, dimos, disteis, and dieron. All right, now you're ready for your practice. So number 1, 2, and 3, you're just conjugating the verb in parentheses for the specific subject pronoun, tú, nosotros, and Lea. And then in number 4, you are writing the conjugation chart for the endings of the verbs ver and dar. So basically what we just went over, but you don't have to apply that specific verb. Like you don't have to write the conjugation chart of ver or for dar. You can, but this question is just asking you to write the endings. Pause the video now and get started on your practice. All right, number 1, we have to conjugate dar for tú. So it's tú blank una camisa, you gave a shirt. So in the tú form, the ending is iste. And we remember that we get rid of the AR and add in our ending. So tú diste una camisa. You gave, remember that it's gave since it's preterite, it's past tense, a shirt. Right. Number 2, nosotros, we have to conjugate for ver, una película. All right. In the nosotros form, what's our ending? It's just imos. Get rid of the ER part, add in our endings. Nosotros vimos una película. We watched, or we saw would be the more accurate translation, but as a rough translation, we watched a movie. Usually the verb watch is mirar, but that's okay. All right, number 3, Lea les blank dar dinero. So we're conjugating dar for Lea, which is ella, so ella usted form. Remember, even though that there is an IOP here, an indirect object pronoun, we're not conjugating for the indirect object pronoun. Like les is the indirect object pronoun for ellos, ellas, ustedes, but we're not conjugating for that. We're conjugating for Lea because Lea is the one who gives the money to them. So that's why we're conjugating for Lea, and the el, ella, usted form ending is io. So our conjugated form is dio. Lea les dio dinero. Lea gave them money. And for the last one, we just need to write a conjugation chart for the endings, and those endings are the same as the ER, IR, preterite verb endings. So that is just iste, yo, imos, isteis, and eran. Remember though, no accents, since we are talking about the preterite tense. Irregular, which has no accents. Congratulations, you're now an expert at the irregular preterite tense verbs ved and that. If this video helped, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!